Very, very fortunate. Joining me on the line, a good friend, fellow Dodger lover, and more importantly, the head of Hronis Racing, Kosta Hronis. You didn't even take any time to enjoy this. You went back to work. What the heck?
Yeah, I was actually back in California yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, back on the ranch by about 10:30.
What were you doing?
Yeah, that's just the way we operate. We just get back to the farm and go to work.
I love it. I love it.
We had a nice dinner Saturday night, and then back on the plane and flying home early in the morning. So.
Wow. Well, listen, hey, for everybody who's watching right now, first of all, congratulations to you, your lovely wife, your brother Pete, the whole operation. John Sadler, what can you say about this guy? You know, as cool and calm as he was during the interview, he was thinking to himself, what do I got to do to finally get one of these?
You know, you're right. John is really cool about it, and all the questions and all the things about his 0 for 41 and this and that. I thought he handled it really gracefully and like a gentleman, and that's who John Sadler is. I think John's really proud of the fact that he got 41 horses to the Breeders' Cup, and you know what? Maybe all of those weren't real big fancy horses. They were horses he trained up and made them even better and got them to a level that no one really expected. I think he's proud of his resume. He's proud of his record.
And he should be. Let's get into this horse. Hey, first off the bat, congratulations to you. It's not like your family has been doing this for 2 or 3 decades, 4 or 5 decades. You got into this. First of all, what prompted you and your brother to say, hey, horse racing, let's do this?
You know, we've always been big fans of the sport. We kind of grew up going to Santa Anita. My grandmother and grandparents lived in Pasadena, so we'd go down to visit Grandma and Grandpa. We'd go to Santa Anita. We just kind of fell in love with it as youngsters. And then through our 20s and 30s, we had a box at Santa Anita on the weekends, and we'd go down and enjoy the races and handicap. And, yeah, 2010, I guess I loved my wife a lot, but I still had a midlife crisis, so I went to the horses.
Some guys buy a Porsche, you bought horses. I like that. Let's get into this horse. Last year, first of all, you've always been very, very generous with everyone here at TVG, with myself and my colleagues over at Santa Anita at the broadcast. We were talking about this, you and I, last year after the Breeders' Cup. And with the exodus of the older handicapping division, you and I chatted about this, that this horse, why not? What was going in through your mind as the years started to kick off and he started to show that, yes, he did deserve to be in the conversation?
Yeah, I guess the plan was, you know, we were going to run. After his 4-year-old campaign, we had him all checked out head to toe. He was healthy, happy to be on the racetrack, happy to train. So, yeah, why not? Let's let him run as a 5-year-old. There were some opportunities to go to that second career, but we decided, you know, he was born to be a racehorse. Let's let him do what he was born to do. So we went in hoping that, you know, we could start stretching him out, and that seemed to be the thing that clicked. I think the stretch out to the 1.8 miles and then the 1.25 miles classic distance is what made him a new horse. I think he really thrived at being able to grind away at that 1.25 miles.
You know, we're looking at the Gold Cup, but actually I want to talk about that transition from the San Pasquale that you were talking about. It was the Santa Anita handicap. It was on a wet, fast track that this horse really proved not only am I one of the best in California, but you better seriously look at me as far as best in the country is concerned. You were there. What was going through your mind in the big cap?
Yeah, I was really impressed with how he handled the whole race because he didn't break the best. He kind of got bogged down a little bit, and he was on the rail, and just the way he handled the wet track that day, and he was just the ultimate professional. And so it did show that maturity in him, and I think that's the horse we saw, like you said, from that point, grow through the year even better and better. His performances just kept stepping up, and yeah, that's the horse that we saw win the Classic.
Kosta, and it's not all winners. There was that, you always say, you know, the agony of defeat. It wasn't exactly agony of defeat, but you did get beat at Oaklawn in a race that I and a lot of people thought you probably should have won. What happened that day?
You know, that day, that track, it was plain little favorite. If you were on the outside, we kind of got trapped underneath City of Light. But really, there's no shame in losing a race to City of Light. What an outstanding thoroughbred horse he is. You saw him in the Dirt Mile. He's a brilliant horse. So again, no shame in that. I think had we gone the 1.25 miles, I think maybe we probably would have come out on top, because I just think Accelerate was the grinder, and I just don't think he gives that up. He may have just got caught by surprise there at the end and didn't see City of Light right away, and yeah, we got nipped. But you know what? If I'm going to lose, I'll lose to City of Light. What a beautiful thoroughbred horse he is.
Yeah, and we're watching that race right now down the stretch there. This is a horse that sometimes when a horse gets bogged down on the rail, it's like the worst possible place. I'm not going to say that that affected Accelerate, because it seemed like he really still wanted to be part of it. But do you think also if he was on the outside, maybe that could have been the defining moment for the win?
I definitely think the outside horse on that track that day really had an advantage.
Okay.
And I do think Accelerate, as you can see by all his other races, that seems to be where he makes his living. He'll run the extra distance, but he'll make it up because he just seems to be more comfortable out there.
You went over, obviously, the Gold Cup was a big win at Santa Anita. You moved down to Del Mar, and I can remember last year you coming out and saying, Del Mar, this is our track. More importantly, this is Accelerate's track. You were supposed to go in the San Diego Handicap. That didn't happen. You went right into the Pacific Classic. Was there a concern at all, or was that by design?
Actually, we kind of were thinking about giving him a break anyway. When Catalina's race didn't fill, the allowance race, we had to run him. He was going to break the barn down if we didn't. So it was a perfect opportunity to give Accelerate a breather and then have him fresh. Our plan was Pacific Classic, the Awesome Again, and the Breeders' Cup. So it worked out. We didn't have to make the choice. The condition book made it for us.
Going back on over, obviously, as you mentioned, it was so impressive there. You came to the Awesome Again. Now, it was a small field, granted, but this was one of the first times, I can only speak for myself, that at about the 16th pole, between the 8th and the 16th, I thought, he's going to get beat. And his heart would not allow him to. Is that a fair statement?
I believe so. And in his defense, I don't think we really had him tightened up. The long-term goal, of course, was the Breeders' Cup Classic. West Coast wasn't signed up to run that race. He ended up being a supplemental entry. We really thought we were going to have an easier race. Once we found out he was in, we decided to go ahead and run because Accelerate seems to be better busy. These times in between are probably not as great for him as some of the other horses that need rest. But yeah, he's a grinder. He's got a little bit of an attitude, and yeah, he didn't want to lose that day at all.
Last two races there, of course, we just saw Joel Rosario took over, obviously, with Victor Espinosa going to the sidelines with that horrific injury. You are such a loyalty fan. I mean, I will say one thing, between Hronis Racing and John Sadler, you like to spread it out a little. You like to give people opportunities, but I know it's a fair statement. This was Victor's horse. That had to be very, very sad for you and the whole team, even though Joel is amazing, but to have Victor not part of it.
Yeah, and we've been in contact with Victor. We've gone down and visited him. He's part of our family. He's done a lot for us. Everything he did for Stellar Wind. We're very grateful that Victor's always rode our horses and rode, we appreciate him in our silks, and it's an honor to have him all the time. The injury was very unfortunate. We're glad he's on the road to recovery. We look forward to him being back as soon as he can. But yeah, once that happened, there was pretty short discussion about where we were going to go, and we thought if we could get Rosario, someone similar to Victor's style, that would fit Accelerate well.
Yesterday, or I should say on Saturday, what an amazing event. Try to describe, if you can, what it was like from leaving the paddock, going to the seats, watching the race, and making that walk down to the winner's circle.
Well, it all seems like a dream, to be honest with you. As high as I mean, the Pacific Classic was our greatest win ever, without a doubt, the TVG Pacific Classic, and so I didn't think I could get much higher than that. I really felt great when Joel when Leva put Joel up on the saddle. you could see Accelerate kind of, his head went up, his ears went up, and you could see he was very focused and was ready to run. That was a real good feeling in the paddock just to see that. At that point, we really felt comfortable. The 14 post didn't really bother us a lot. I'm glad we weren't down on the rail. But, again, Accelerate out in clean air seems to be the best. He ran on the track as a plus 49 to Gunnevera. So, you know, we added a lot more distance to our race. But yeah, it was once we hit that 3/4 pole and he got the lead, I knew he was going to grind it out, and I felt really good and confident. And yeah, but the finish line could not come fast enough, that's for sure.
Real quickly, because we got to get over to some racing, and you're so generous with your time. Two things. One, we've discussed this before at Santa Anita. As long as Accelerate's all right, the Pegasus is the next option, correct?
Yeah, he's at Lane's End now. There's some people viewing him for his future career. But yes, he's flying home, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday. We'll get him back out and get him back on the track. And, yeah, that's the focus. And we'll actually decide if he needs a prep or doesn't need a prep. We're going to leave that up to him. He's in great shape. He came out of the race beautifully. So, yes, we're definitely the Pegasus is definitely on the radar. That's what we're pointing towards.
All right, Kosta, before we let you go, I'm going to let you make your case. You've heard my case. The debates are already continuing. Who is Horse of the Year? Here is your platform. Why is Accelerate Horse of the Year?
You know, I read every place where it said, you know, we're not going to have this conversation unless he wins the Classic. Well, he won the Classic. I think Accelerate showed on the racetrack for the last 12 months his body of work. The G1s he ran with the older horses in the division and giving away weight on every race. He's been giving away a lot of weight, anywhere between 4 to 6 pounds to some of these, well, to City of Light even. So, you know, his body of work, I'm going to let speak for itself. I'm really proud of him. But, yeah, there's no horse that has come through the handicap division that's done what he's done, sweep the 4 California G1s, and then turn around, travel across the country, get the 14 post, and win the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I'm just going to say, Horse of the Year is Horse of the Year. Kosta, thank you so much for your time. You're very generous. Thank you for letting us live alongside Accelerate, and more importantly, that Accelerate, cross the fingers, keeps going into 2019. Thank you so much. Go back to work, and we'll see you at the Great Race Place real soon.